Welcome back, boys. Today we're checking out White Privilege with Franck Zanu and Christopher Allen Brown. Let's check it out.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming to host my show. I've read your notes and it's exciting. So please, let's get it going for the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting.
All right, so I heard you said you have some issue with my stand that there is no such thing as white privilege. Can you let me know which part of it do you disagree or have issues with?
Sure, if you wouldn't mind just discussing just laying it out, what you believe, and then I can go point by point.
I see. So it's not a question of belief because this terminology or whatever a phrase just started popping up not too long ago and is catching fire and on and on. And I have thought about a few things that I think we should discuss to find out if this is real or not real. And one of them is, what is that privilege that the white people have over others? What is it? Who gave it to them? Where did they buy it? Privilege is something either by birth, by social status, or maybe by inheritance. So what is it they have that we don't have? What is it that they have the privilege that we don't have? Those are the questions I think will make this conversation interesting.
Okay, that's fair. So I guess my definition of white privilege would be unearned benefits that you'd get from your status as a white person. That would be across a variety of different sort of domains: economic, educational, housing. That's basically, there are more as well, but that's essentially the gist of my definition. And who is it recognized by? Well, I guess it would be recognized by everyone. It's not something that's simply asserted. It's not something where folks just asserted that it exists and it happened. It's something it's a term that was founded in order to describe a specific phenomenon, and that society as a whole has a tendency to accrue certain benefits to white folks solely due to the fact that they're white. And it's easy to say, well, where does this come from? I think it comes from a white supremacist culture and how that culture sort of pervades every aspect of life and political systems and economic functioning and things along those lines. And it's something that no one can really escape from, like race.
So you're saying that anyone who is born white would automatically have privileges. So the question is it man-made or is it natural?
Oh, it's absolutely man-made.
So how is it, if it's man-made, then why do we have to say that they have these privileges based on skin color? If it's man-made, then why can't blacks do the same thing? Why can't Asians do the same thing and have the same privileges? If it's man-made, then what prevents us from not having the privilege to do it?
I think that's a great question. On one end, society constrains us, and societal beliefs aren't just out of thin air or aren't poofed out of thin air or solely, inside of one particular person. Mm-hmm. It's the culture that you're exposed to. It's the institutions that you're exposed to. It's the ideologies that you're exposed to. It's a media culture where it's primarily run by white folks.
I mean, I think he's talking about the U.S. I'm here in Norway. I'm here in Europe. But what differences? I don't know, what differences do white people have than don't blacks and whites have the same opportunities to go to school and get educated? Do not be? They have the same opportunities for everything. I'm pretty sure you guys are not in chains and you don't have a ball and chain behind you. You're not in the fields picking cotton. I don't think that's how it works in the U.S.
It's primarily funded by white folks and employed by white folks.
Well, this is a white country, right? It is a white country. We must agree. It is a white country. What I mean is that white people from other places came here, founded the place, made it into a republic, and then they attracted people from other places. But I'm thinking that people are saying we are not on the same level with white people, therefore they have a privilege. And what I am struggling with is this. You said it's man-made. If it is man-made, why can't the other colors do it too? That is one. How is it man-made? Now, let me ask you, do blacks give white people privileges?
Do blacks give white people? Well, no, it's not white people giving white people privileges or black people giving black people privileges. It's the entire societal structure as a whole that
Well, if they
maintains
get the privileges from that the black people can't get the privilege. What is that?
what I was explaining, the institutions, the
What kind of
ideologies.
What institutions today in America, the last 50 years, says that a black man cannot do this or do that or do this? What is it? Now, if white people have these untouchable privileges, how come in other areas, then they can go everywhere? Which means, for example, the NBA, that privilege should make them become the ones who predominate the NBA, the NFL, 100 meters, athletics, a whole lot of things. Why? Why do we have black people predominate these parts of society and do well in it? So which areas, for example, do the black people don't have the privilege? Just give me a list of it.
Okay, sure. So I feel like you're moving across different questions here. So I want to sort of redirect it to the original question where you talk about it being man-made, then why can't...
No, you said it's man-made. I ask, is it man-made or is it natural that once you have a skin color, white skin color, you automatically will have privileges? Is that the case? 2, is this white privilege, that you are white, therefore you have privilege, is it peculiar to America or is it just anywhere, any white country?
I think the context is dependent. So it's what's white privilege in one specific area is governed by the political culture of that area.
So show me a place where white people live, they do not have the privileges you claim white Americans have. Where do you know on earth where black, brown, green people who live there have the same privileges with white people? Is there any place like that?
That's not my area of expertise. My area of expertise is America, so I wouldn't say, hey, this country, they don't have white privilege. This country, they won't. Well,
I've lived in many white countries. I've lived in Asia. I've traveled quite wide, and I have never seen a place where we say, oh, the people who live there, they are all equal, they are all on the same plane. Never at all. But when I hear the word white privilege, what it sounds to me is that if you are born white, you automatically will have privileges. Black people don't give white people privileges, you said. Where do they get it from? And why can't we get it? You said it's because of the institutions. What institutions in America today prevent a black man from going to school, joining the army, joining the police, being a volunteer, firefighter, running 100 meters? Why it never prevents them from playing on the NBA, in the NFL, running, doing anything? Okay, how many blacks should be at the top 1% for you to say that, yes, we have the privileges? How about Oprah Winfrey? Is she privileged or not?
Okay, so we're moving across a variety of different questions and not getting back to the original one.
What do you mean by if you are born white? So you're saying, let's do it this way. If you say by being born white, you have privilege, what are we saying to black kids?
You're essentially telling them that there are things that are outside of their control.
Like what?
That can prevent. Okay.
Yeah,
so
like what?
Yeah, that's like horrible messaging. Like, oh, you've already lost the race before it even started, black kid. Like, sit your ass down and let the white kid win. That's such a like loser message if you're telling these black kids this shit. I think is it only black people that do this? They have like this loser defeatist mentality, like, know you're black, show your black power or whatever, go win, stop being a loser, pretty much. And I think a lot of people can agree with me with this shit. I don't feel bad because everything is competition in this world, and in a sane society, things are merit based. So you need to be the best man for the job. You need to be the best student for the college to go to school. You need to be the best man for the job. It's merit based. Now with like DEI hiring and shit, it's complete garbage. Now you get unqualified people getting jobs that they aren't qualified for just because of their skin color. It's ridiculous. I think in a sane society, in a good society, the best man wins. You know, it breeds healthy competition, and if people who aren't the best start running shit, things are just gonna degrade. You know, the buses are gonna be late, the trains are gonna be late, the infrastructure is gonna start getting worse. Like, this is the thing, and I think this idea is ridiculous. I only see black people complain and yap and blah blah blah. We're behind, but I don't see them working. I don't see them fucking shutting up and fucking working, putting in the hours in their business, in their job, or whatever the fuck. They just complain and complain. Give me more benefits. Give me more sympathy. Like, this is the problem, bro. That's what I see. That's what I see.
Example.
Let's, because you keep on moving to very different questions that are very...
No, let me stay on white privilege. White people born white have privileges in America. You said we should make it specifically America. All right, what do we tell black kids? Since you're not born white, what?
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the man-made aspect.
Okay.
Everything we do, essentially, that's related to the social realm is man-made. Like, and when you think of it this way, you're taller than me, right?
Yeah.
There are folks that are taller than other folks.
Yes.
Has our society been organized around that?
I'm not sure. If I don't play in the NBA, I'm tall, but it's useless. I can't even play basketball. I don't make money out of it.
And by that, I should be a little bit more specific. Are there cultures of mainly or almost exclusively tall people? Was there Jim Crow where tall folks and the short people couldn't live together, had to be subservient to other folks, could only be confined to certain positions in specific workplaces and whatnot?
No, except one area. I've seen short guys don't score girls as much as tall guys.
Okay, fair enough. Well, the point I'm making is that...
But you're talking about something that is natural. Nobody says that if you're tall, you are therefore guilty. White skin is not made by white people. They were born white. They live in their own country. So if you remove all the white people from America, move them to Japan, and bring all Japanese to America, do you think Japanese and blacks will be on the equal level? Would there be yellow privilege?
I'm going to get back to my original point, so I can answer one of your questions before you pepper me with another one.
What I do is that I'm not able to tell you this plus this. I can only question the conclusions we have arrived at. That's what we do on Rethink, Project Rethink. We question the conclusions. And I'm saying, if you say that white people have privilege, then we have to question that conclusion. That's what I'm trying to do. If you move white people out of America and you bring Japanese to take their place, are you saying that?
Like, bro, I think this kind of stuff, they're abdicating responsibility, you know? I've had comments say, oh, they're lazy. Well, I guess you can look at it like that. Some blacks are just lazy. They don't want to put in the work. Just as there's many whites that are lazy and don't put in the work. I've had friends that I had to cut off. I was like, yo, we need to do something. We need to create something. We need to build something. And they're happy playing Fortnite and playing video games and drinking Mountain Dew and eating Doritos and getting fat, not going to the gym. You meet these people everywhere. But this is the thing, like, this is not like a race thing. This really is like an attitude. If you really want to win, you will. If you want to win a race, you don't trip a little bit and be like, oh no, I tripped. Oh, this stupid rock. Oh, it's fault. Oh no, like, and you stop and you look at the rock and you inspect the rock because you tripped. No, if you want to win, you trip a little, fuck the rock. Go, keep going, push. That's what you got to do if you want to win. You can't stop. And this is what black people do. They stop and be like, oh, but slavery. Well, are you a fucking slave? Like what the fuck? Everybody's struggling now. Have you looked at the economy? It's everywhere. Even here in Europe, we're getting hit with this shit. It's getting bad. Economy, rent, prices of housing, everything is exploding. Things are getting harder and harder and harder. And yeah, like, brother, things are getting bad.
It will become yellow privilege, or then black and Japanese will be unequal.
That's not what I'm...
Second, tell me what black people don't have in America because they live with white people that they have in Africa, the motherland from where they come from. Tell me how the conditions there are better because they have privileges and it's different from here. Then I can say it's true that white people have privilege over black people. If where they come from is better than where they live now, show me one place in Africa where the blacks who live here, because of the white people, they don't have the privilege. Where the continent, they have it. Where?
I'll say two things. It's not related to my argument. I don't know if it's related to your argument, but it's not related to my argument because I'm talking about institutions, structures,
then name the
culture.
institutions. Okay, explain it to me.
You know, since the advent of the transatlantic slave trade since colonization, I think we can pretend, and even things that we've talked about before, like apartheid, we can pretend that just because there's a black majority in a country, that it's run by black folks. But as we know, with what Western-style liberal democracy is, funding, control of political parties, resources, things along those lines, all affect how much input folks have.
Those who are not white. It affects, it's negative.
No, it affects everyone. It affects everyone's access to political institutions and their abilities to remake political institutions. Yeah, all that stuff, Then
what is the privilege we're talking about?
Well, I'm referring to how basically disparities in income.
What institutions have prevented a black man from doing something? We're not talking about a time when they were brought as slaves. Of course, everywhere slavery happened in Africa, among tribes, between tribes, in Europe, Northern Europe, you name it, Asia. If you are the slave, you're not going to have the same equality with the slave owner. No, just like a guest in a house doesn't have the same right with the owner of the place. So I'm asking you, show me one thing without the white privilege that blacks could have become. And what is the frame of reference to say that? What is it? What institutions are preventing the black people from attaining what you think has been taken away from them because somebody was born white? Is what I want to understand. White privilege. The prefix to the word privilege is white, which means because you were born white. Who is giving the person? You're saying white people cannot, all the inventions, innovations, the structures they built, countries they founded, even the ability to colonize other places, they did it just because they're white. They have no capability.
That's not what I'm saying.
Then what is giving them the
privilege
then?
What's giving them the privilege are the way those institutions operate, the way
without those institutions,
operates.
You are saying white people would have failed.
Yes, in order.
And show me one country where they failed.
The argument that I'm making by that, which I don't think you're grasping, is since white folks have
is interesting to me. Without those institutions, without the privileges, white people would have failed.
Without social institutions,
yes, white people would have failed.
Widespread social phenomenon would not happen.
Which is
That's not a very...
Okay, so show me an example where it never happened until they started having privileges. Like when?
I don't think you're understanding the fact that I'm just broadly explaining that social phenomenon emanates from pre-existing cultures, from social institutions, from ideologies. So everything, so you're saying, oh, well, if there wasn't for these specific ideologies, it wouldn't happen. Yeah, that's anything.
All right.
Anything wouldn't happen without the precursors for them.
Yeah, let's go back to the question. White privilege. I said there's no such thing. It was made up by, of course, rightfully so. When blacks look at where they are compared to white people, they think that there's something that has been taken away from them. Nobody talks about capabilities, okay? The white inventions, innovations, building of countries, republics, establishment, businesses, okay? Even the countries they colonized in Africa, all of us, and you talk to any African who is 65 years and older, will tell you, our countries were more structured. And when they left, things started falling apart. South Africa is an example of it. I just came back last year. So I'm asking you, where in the world white people have failed because they don't have privileges?
See, I was trying to expound on that point, and then you moved it off with another question.
Please.
So the point I'm making is that, and this is what I was talking about with respect to disparities in resources and control of the political system and things along those lines. So you're saying, oh, things are worse now that white folks left, ignoring the fact that due to the fact that in Western liberal democracies, if you have funding, if you have control over political parties, if you have disparate resources.
You're saying, so why do you call it white privilege?
Because it's white folks benefit from this white supremacist system, these white supremacist systems and institutions. So we call it white privilege because they get unearned benefits.
In their own country.
What's up?
In their own country.
In their own country, in other countries,
the
yes.
Culture, the laws they made by themselves when they built this place. When they arrived here, there was no white privilege or non-white privilege. They arrived here.
There was Anglo-Saxon privilege.
Yes,
and eventually it
Anglo-Saxon privilege. Why do you keep saying it's privilege?
Because they built institutions specifically around themselves.
How is my relationship, my religious, skin color, ethnic relationship?
So for one example, immigration. Yes. So there were a variety of immigration laws around the 1910s.
Bro, this dude is like the ultimate victim, final boss, slave. This dude, he is a slave. In his mind, this dude does have a ball and chain. He's chained up like a slave. In his mind, don't you see that? He is a slave, right? Don't you see that? He is a slave. Incredible. Like, I'm a Slav. Do you know where that word, do you know where slave, the word, comes from? It comes from Slavs. I am a Slav. We were the OG slaves. But I don't have a slave image on myself. I'm a free man and I can do whatever I want. That's my image. But this guy, bro, brother, brother, you break those chains in your mind, bro. Stop being a slave. Take some accountability, take some responsibility, and become a man. Maybe like, damn.
1920s that revolved around racial quota systems. At that point, the racial system was it was very different than what we think of now. Because again, race is fiction. It's purely something that's a social phenomenon. At that point, it was useful to think of race as not only between whites, blacks, but at the time like Mongolians, or sometimes they would call them yellow, Native Americans. It also brought into each other, it also brought into this framework, this Nordic, Teutonic, and then like Southern European racial classifications, and then also like nationalities were thought of as races as well. So at that particular point in time, there was a lot of eugenic thinking that essentially said, if we want the American race, again, absurd since America's, a couple of centuries long, but they're confused, but they're basically their viewpoint, their conception of race is very different than today, to where they thought that if you get, the Anglo-Saxon race, the most predominant population, or the predominant part of the immigrant population, Anglo-Saxon heritage or Nordic heritage, then it's going to lead to much better outcomes.
Who is making this?
These are, so some were eugenicists that were in private domains, like researchers or things like that, sometimes organizations. It was also,
cultural belief, political institutions, it's also a grab of power. You said because white people have all these, it gives them privilege, isn't it? That's your explanation.
They were in control of
their political power.
Yeah.
Of course, they should be, because it's their country. You can't go to Japan and say Japanese are in control of the political power if you're a black person or if you're a white person.
The aspect that I'm drawing our attention to is the laws that were changed specifically to benefit people that were looking like them, or people that they believed had the same racial categorization as them, which at that point was Anglo-Saxon. And then eventually we moved past, I think it was around...
Bro, he just looks at them like, what the hell are you talking about?
I understand, but if Anglo-Saxons, they moved here and they founded this country, meaning founded simply means that they name it, they draw boundaries, and they say, this is where we are going to live. This is the primary owner of this place, the host. Whether he killed people, unfortunately, and he made it his home. Anyone who comes, you have to live on the laws he's made. Same thing is happening in China, same thing is happening in Japan, in South Korea, everywhere, Russia. That's as simple as that. Why would you, the visitor, whether you were brought by force or you came voluntarily, claim after some time that, why am I not having the same privilege with you? Who told you you could? You're different. You are not talking about white capability, the things they have done before they even brought people here. You're not talking about that. You're simply saying that blacks have the capability to be at the same place whites are, if not because of...
Yeah, and like he's talking about institutions and shit. Then make your own institutions, bro. If white people made all that shit, make your own black institutions or whatever. But how are you gonna make it? Is it going to be merit based? If not, if it's not merit based, then you're done. It has to be merit based, and who are usually the best and brightest? Who is probably some white dude. Like, let's be real. And the thing is, you can have all these institutions, but you're not gonna know what the fuck to do with them. That's the brutal reality. And I mean, they can keep crying forever and ever and ever and being this victim, but really need to change the conversation to give more inspiration, not DEI hiring, not like give them benefits because, oh, you're black. No, it has to be fully merit based. Oh, black person, you're the smartest in this school. Here you go, man. You get the best job. Congratulations. You worked for it. You earned it. I think it's actually hurting black people more to like give them benefits for no reason at all. It kills their ambition. It kills their drive, to prove themselves, because they already win by being a fucking loser and crying about it. And I think this is what is annoying a lot of people, because if I, a white person or any other white person, if a white person cried and was like, oh, like I'm not getting any benefits, oh, life is, I'm struggling, like nobody gives a fuck. Actually, they spit on you. That's the toxic culture nowadays. Is it's actually the worst to be a white person nowadays, because your own women are against you. The Western white women are against you. Now there's like this toxic culture brewing against white people. You might actually not get hired because you're white and all of that. There's other stories like that as well, and it's crazy.
The laws they have made, the institutions they have put in place, the political power they have. I say, show me one thing and somewhere where whites have failed because they didn't put those institutions into place. Where? Now, then answer my question. What is the privilege of all the black countries in Africa, in the Caribbean, Haiti included, Jamaica? There are no white people there holding them down. What is the privilege?
I feel like you've missed a couple of my
Correct me, put me on the road.
Okay, so the point that I'm making with the disparities with respect to income and the control over the political economic system.
It's not based on capability? It's not based on ability?
It's based on historical record.
No, that is not true. That was the case. Then Africa has
when apartheid ends, right? And then there's all these disparities.
39 million blacks live in South Africa, about 2.8 million white people. Okay, and almost South Africa looked like an European country. There was never power shortage. Now they have what is called load shedding, which means power comes on for 4 hours and it goes off. There's no water system. The roads are breaking. Railway lines are condemned. It used to have one of the most impressive rail network in South Africa. 32 years ago, January 5th, 1990, power 100% in the hands of blacks.
So
you see what is going on.
So you're saying
now
that all of industry was nationalized. There's no more in South Africa. You're claiming that there's no more private industry.
There is private industry.
Is there white-run private industry in South Africa?
Yes, I'm saying.
Oh, okay, so
I am saying 32 years ago they gave it to blacks, and today we have load shedding. Electricity can't work properly. Water is not flowing. The railway lines, trains are dead on the tracks. I want to tell you. Yes, you got to understand whether there are white people there or not, as you've seen here. Look.
That's your distinction. You're the one who's solely saying that white people...
Wow. Brother, I had no idea. So they had power, they had railways, they had fucking everything in South Africa, was it? Now they don't have jack shit. Like, things 4 hours power a day, I guess? That's crazy. And this is the thing. We watched the previous episode that Frank basically told us they don't have an idea of maintenance. And by that, I mean, oh, it works today, it's gonna work tomorrow, lol. I don't gotta do anything, I can be lazy. It's like you give them an airport, you give them a plane. And you know how before liftoff, they always, you go to an airport, they always have maintenance on the plane before liftoff. Like they always, after every flight, they check, oh, is everything working? Oh, is the shutter working? Is everything working? Everything is fine. No rust. Everything is cool. They do all the checks, all the data. You know, what he's talking about maintenance and their lack of maintenance of things, they wouldn't, you know, in this example, have maintenance on the plane. Oh, it flew yesterday, it can fly today. Like, lol, we don't gotta do maintenance. We don't gotta do work. Like, what? And basically, the plane, you know, crashes and burns. That's just an example. They also read a comment on my previous video where they had some kind of like water pump engine, something like that. It was with water. And they didn't have maintenance on it. And it filled up with like sand or whatever. And it went to shit. It broke, you know? Black people in some country, they had this water treatment or something facility, and they didn't have maintenance. This is the thing. You can give black people the world. You can give them a fully absolute functioning society, but they don't have maintenance to keep it. You know, just like the South Africa example. You know, if they have a railway system, if they have a power system functioning, they don't keep maintenance on it, and it goes to shit. Now they have 4 hours a day power. That's crazy. That's crazy work. I had no idea. Very interesting. Good knowledge.
black people, now
Yes,
that white, I'm
fine.
arguing against that.
In whether there are white people there or not, as you've seen here, look at
That's your distinction. You're the
yes.
one who's solely saying that white people, black people, now
Yes,
that white, I'm
fine.
arguing against that. So this doesn't advance
What
the
I've seen
conversation
is
because
this.
you're
What
not.
I've seen is this. In my travels, when I meet people outside their original domain or habitat, for example, I meet Japanese in America or in Canada, or I meet Africans in America, England, or Canada. What I do first, by knowing if there's something wrong with you, I look at the place from where you are coming. If the place looks better than where you are, I know something happened here. What is it that has happened to black people here that they are worse off than the continent? What is it?
See, this is the issue here. Like, there's no
Then
fundamental
there's no
agreement
point
of the
of
terms.
saying whites has privilege if you can't answer that question, if you cannot explain that.
I've been trying to. The
Well,
point.
explain to me, what is it about black people here that can tell you that something went wrong if you compare them to the continent? What is it?
I would not make that
But
comparison.
why
because it's
not?
an
Then
absolute
how would
absurd
you know
comparison
that the
because
person you are comparing them to has privilege? Because of the institutions. You made that up to explain why you think you are.
This is your conception of white privilege and how folks came to reason white privilege, and you're continuing to base
Yes,
your
it's
responses to
true.
me off of your own conception, despite the fact that I'm trying to explain my own conception of white privilege.
Which is
how
that
it's-
white people have the power. Number two, they put institutions and laws into place to make black people not be at the same top like them, or Asian people. I have not seen the Japanese who live in America, quite a huge number of them, complaining that they're not doing well because of white privilege. I've not seen the Koreans, the Chinese, the Arabs, or anybody
You're
complaining
comparing
that.
two very different populations. One was forced migration, where black folks were stolen from, where Africans were stolen from.
Yeah,
their
Indians
countries.
and Chinese came here as indentured slaves by the British, but
That
they're
is
doing
absolutely
well.
not true. Until 1965, the vast majority of there were very few Asian folks and much less Indian folks that were actually
Yes.
that were migrating
Yeah.
to America. And what I was trying to explain, where there was these racial quota systems that totally excluded Japanese, any
right.
Asian folks from coming in there,
Yeah.
excluded mainly Africans from coming here, unless it was under a specific nationality. So if it was like if you were subject of Britain, you could come through that way, but that wasn't the intention. And until 1965, that was when they were allowed to come in. But it's very cool. Let me just finish this.
Okay.
We can pretend that a population who was stolen.
I'm asking questions
No, it's
for you
fine.
to help me come to your side that indeed there is white privilege. I am asking, the word white coming as a prefix to privilege mean that if you have a white skin, you have privilege. In America, I ask you if it's man-made or natural. You told me it's man-made. Then I ask you, then why can't other people make it too? America, blacks are free in America today. They had a black president, a black first lady. Oh, they predominate many sections of America. Which area is it that black people are not or don't have the access that makes you keep thinking that being born white is a privilege? It's the fact that you are born white is a privilege, or the white skin makes you do things others can do, or no, you just get things just because you're white, even though you don't have the capability. Then name one failed white country. So I can understand that.
These aren't related to your original question, and,
The original
and
question
you're not
is
letting me
there's
finish
no
my
such thing
points.
as white privilege. That is a statement I made.
Because
and
you
I
asked
stand
me
by
about
it.
one specific phenomenon about white privilege, about where do white folks gain privilege in one
Yes, that's a
specific
very good
domain?
question.
And while I'm trying to explain the immigration, you're cutting me off. And now
Why
I'm
would it be
finish.
immigration? They migrated to this country.
Brother, this is why you blacks are getting outcompeted. You're there stopping being this like victim instead of like running, instead of winning. I don't get it. Like, I want to see black people win. I met a lot of, well, not a lot, actually, I'm lying. I haven't met a lot of black people, but I do believe in them. I've seen a few in person, very ambitious, good black people I never talk to. I don't talk to many people, but I see them out there. They're winning. And I want to see more of that, But you stopping and being like this victim, that doesn't help. That really doesn't help.
And establish this republic, and we come onto it. I came here as an immigrant because it attracted me. And I came, why should I be Why should I be looking at myself to say I should be on the same level?
And that's another issue I have. You clearly, like right now, you're describing white privilege and you're saying that there's no issue with it. You're saying, yeah, so white people can migrate here at a much higher rate despite having the same complications or the same qualifications as everyone else.
I don't believe that 3 or 4 different races were in a race to migrate to America. They came here, they found the land, they came, and they established a republic. They didn't say, join us, it's a race, we'll see who gets there first. Haitians claim that they've been the first black country 200 years ago to gain independence. They govern themselves. Where is the privilege in Haiti? Is there any black privilege?
So
if I live in Africa, do I have black privilege?
So you're accepting that there are different...
And I'll move to your side. 1, if it's man-made, who made it? Who gives the white the privilege? You said because a large majority of whites hold power, they build the institutions. Okay, but why does it keep attracting people to come here? And no other group of people are ever complaining about the white privilege except black, because they think that they are the bottom of the totem pole, which is not true. Things are done by people, by race, by people based on your ability. Heaven is not just for anyone. If they put you in heaven, you don't have the ability to remain there, you will quit.
Okay, so
privilege, meaning blacks by nature. You're saying in America, black and white are supposed to have equal access to everything. Is that what you're saying?
I say in a world where racism doesn't exist.
Racism doesn't exist. People will have equal access to everything. So white people...
Equal outcomes, unless you believe that one race is superior and other races are inferior. What sense does racial stratification in anything mean?
I never believe that one race is superior to the other. I know races are different.
No, well, I'm asking you a question now.
Yes.
If you don't believe racial stratification is a sign of racism, then what would this racial stratification be based on?
Stratification, what are you talking about, racial stratification?
So stratification means different outcomes among different races.
Well, you said different races. So do you expect the same outcome from the lion and the antelope?
Okay,
they
so
both walk on 4 legs, they have fur on their body, they have a tail. Do you expect the same outcome from the lion and the antelope?
You believe in essential qualities and characteristics that certain races have?
Characteristics, abilities, based on where you come from. Simple. The people of the northern rift of Kenya will beat everybody and anybody in marathon. You can't deny that. Since 1936, Carl Owens beat everybody. Scientifically trained Germans were beaten by Carl Owens in 100 meters. And then from there, it was black guy, black guy, black guy. Today, you can't boast that Ali was not the best boxer. He told you he was superior. You want to try to get into the ring with him. Yes, I believe that races and people, we have different structures because you can't expect the same outcome from the lion and the antelope. They are not different from human beings.
They're different species.
No, they are not different species.
They are different species.
But they both are mammals. You and I are humans, but we have different abilities. Intellectually, physically, yes.
A dog and a human is a mammal, but we're not the same species.
We're not the same species. I'm saying you don't expect the same outcome from the lion and the antelope, but they are both mammals, and they are animals. They live in the animal kingdom. We are humans, but we're different in capabilities. Why is it the North Rift of Kenya is good in marathon? Why are Chinese good in aerobics? Why are Russians very good in ballet and classical dance? Why are blacks very good in very muscular sports? We're different. But if you expose us to one thing, and you're using that to determine what is equality, then some people would fail, and that is what you're doing. It's like asking the monkey and the fish to determine that climbing is the only way to determine superiority. Well, the monkey will be superior for the rest of its life.
Okay, so
there is no white privilege. White people live in their country, a place, they have been able to build it. There is no question about that, based on their abilities to do things differently.
We have about a century's worth of studies that try to see if there's any genetic basis of racism, genetic basis of races, where if you can, there's more genetic diversity within races than there is across races, which kind of makes sense since black folks have been around for quite a bit longer than other folks. What you're saying is scientific.
No, you're going to catch me there. If you begin to bring, is it a scientific fact? No.
No, it does. If you're claiming that there are essential differences and you're basing it off the fact that we're different species, you are making scientific claims.
Majority of the things we do and we have concluded in this world based on observations. I'm a very sophisticated thinker, and I have traveled very widely, and I've seen things enough to convince me that yes, I don't need a scientific proof to say the reason every white country looks very, even in one country, go to the suburbia, it's cleaner, quieter, organized, go to the urban. It's not. We trash our streets because we don't have privilege. We don't know how to clean our own sleeves. We throw grandma's microwave outside. We park our cars and repair it there and spill the floor with oil. We don't pay attention to our children. We would rather go and use the money to buy boom boxes in our car. Yes, every race, every group of people have certain abilities.
There's none that's inferior and none that's superior. Even though in your definition,
different.
These white folks, they take care of their neighborhoods.
Yes,
but
all
white folks,
based on
they're playing their ghetto blasters.
culture.
And they're
all based on culture.
Oh, it's okay.
That is why the 54 countries in one continent, you want to tell me...
So it's an essential, first it's essential and now it's culture.
You want to tell me that it is possible a phenomena would hit 54 countries equally?
Brother, it's the thing is, blacks can most definitely win. They have the ability to. Nobody is stopping them. But, you know, the blacks who kind of, I guess, are white... In a way, they operate. They live in the same neighborhood. They aren't part of that like stupid like ghetto culture or ratchety culture. They're not. They don't have that. I see that, and they win. They have a normal job. They're fucking at home with their kids. Like brother, that's what I see, and you know, they win. They have a job. Things are normal, but people want to keep to these like my culture, and it's like rap music and shit, killing and shit, guns, gang bullshit. They want to keep that part of their culture. There's no wonder that you don't have philosophers, you don't have people building shit, you know, you have people destroying shit, but you don't have people building institutions and becoming academics. You need to change that if you want to win, that is. But if that is the only culture you care about and you're prideful about, and you want to keep that ghetto ratchet culture, then stay at the bottom, I guess. Like, that's the thing. Like, this world is brutal, and things are just going to continue to get more and more brutal. There's going to be less DEI. There's going to be less handouts. You think the world is going to get more difficult. And you need to, you know, get better, basically. And I'm not saying any of this out of hate. I'm saying this out of love. You know, it's these other people, it's these leftists, it is these women, especially these leftist women, it is these people that look down on the blacks, you know? They're like, oh, you're so sorry, we need to give you privilege, we need to give you this DEI job, oh, you just can't do anything, little blackie. They're like that. And I'm saying, you know, you are my equal. You just gotta stand like it. You gotta present yourself as a fucking equal, and then you will be an equal. But I'm sick and tired of dudes like this. I don't know who this guy is, Christopher Allen Brown. If black people operate like him or worse, where they have this like victim slave mentality, as I already said, of course you're gonna fucking lose. Of course you're gonna look at white people and be like, oh my god, my master. Ooh, like, brother, I love black people, bro. I've had very good black friends. They're real people.
In one continent, even the most crudest probability, something will change. One continent of one race, Africa, the largest because of the number of countries, 54, all of them uniformly, constantly suffer the same thing. You go to the Caribbean, the black countries there. You go to UK, the black communities there. You see everything.
It's almost like there's this overarching white supremacist structure that has stolen resources for centuries.
Oh, there we're gonna go. And we don't know how to steal. We allow them to come to our continent and steal. We don't know how to steal. Well, that also, I'm saying, there is no such thing that one phenomenon.
So colonization doesn't exist, apartheid doesn't exist. I don't know why we're saying that.
Like, Australia was colonized, New Zealand was colonized, the United States.
How is the indigenous population doing in Australia? As poorly as we are doing.
Indigenous population, here we go. I am saying to you, the northern part of UK, slaves and colonization. Today, because the one thing happening in America that nobody is talking about, the United States of America remain the only place right now on earth where former slaves or, you know, descendants of slaves are the only place where the skin color is different. In the northern part of Europe, slavery, large number than the ones that are in America. But when slavery was over, because they had the same skin color, they blended. You can't tell who was a slave and who was not a slave. Gone. Asia, the same thing.
They
have
very
the same
different
skin.
slaves.
Hey, what'd I say? I'm a Slav, but I live here in Norway. And, you know, I don't look, okay, I look different. I do get treated a little bit different. But, you know, you smile and you're happy and you show them that you're Norwegian and you love Norway. And they suddenly start to treat you like a Norwegian. I went to church, which nobody does here. But this is one of the most secular places. But I went to church, man. And I met the like most Norwegian 92-year-old man. And he was like, you know, we love foreigners like you. I can see you're a foreigner. He told me this kind of, it's like, you're a foreigner, but you know, we like foreigners like you. You come to church, you love this place, you love God. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you are Norwegian or something like that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. So I got the vouch, basically. I got the vouch from the 92-year-old Norwegian man. The OG of the OG, I got the vouch. That it's like, yeah, it's cool that I'm here in Norway. Even though I guess my blood is more in Russia. I'm born in Latvia. And, you know, I got the vouch and it felt good, you know? But, yeah, there's been slavery everywhere. And blacks are not special in that, man. I'm telling you, like, you want to have a slave off, like, I win, no diff, like.
Hold on.
Systems.
In Asia, there was slavery, but when it was over, you can't tell who was once a slave and who was not. So the anger is gone. In the United States, unfortunately for this country, the blacks remained here, and every day they wake up to see their skin color, and that it reminds them how they got here. Hold on. And that is where the anger is. And for you to explain, like a boogeyman, everybody create to explain why they are there.
So they're not really at the deepest level. They're not angry that they're not angry when they look at the white skin and they're like, white people. They look at themselves and they are sad. I'm not white. Why am I black? Is that what he's talking about? I wonder.
The third round or they are the bottom of the totem pole, you have to create white supremacy, white privilege to explain that. Because they are white, that's why they are doing well. You are affirming what you like about them, only you don't want to, I don't mean you, but they don't want to admit it. And then they say, oh, the reason they are doing well is because they are white. That's where it came from.
That is your imagination of what the term and the conception of white privilege is?
No, because you haven't succeeded in
Brother, like, this is like, kind of like, there's a lot of people like this that are like pseudo, like, oh, like, give me the argument, give me the scientific fact. And then you have like the common sense Chad, you know, you have the common sense Chad. It just says it how it is. Like, come on, brother. Can't you get it? Do you need a scientific method to explain fucking everything when you can just like, yeah, water is wet, fire is hot, like common sense, like, come on, man.
Explaining to
So the Invisible Knapsack. Have you ever read The Invisible Knapsack?
No, please.
Okay, well that was that's
Who wrote
where
it?
the term Peggy McIntosh, I believe.
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
But that's where the term comes from.
Okay.
And she explains.
Peggy was who?
She was an academic writer, I believe.
No, but of what?
She was white. She was white.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's just like if you don't read the original piece and go through the history,
what do you call it original? Why?
That's where the term was.
Yeah, that's her conclusions, her opinion.
But I'm saying like
that white people are doing so well. It must be an insult for me to sit in front of her and she tells me I have a privilege, and what am I?
That's purely your reaction to it. It's not an analysis of it.
You have continued, not you, but the people who believe that, oh, white people are doing well. They organize themselves, their towns are good because they are white. What you're telling black kids, you're doomed forever.
You're not. You're telling them.
Yeah, that's what I said. And the thing is can't they see this will breed like racial conflict? Like there's already, I think it's kind of like a propaganda thing. I don't know. It's definitely like a lot of it is like propaganda to like split people apart, to have like this kind of race war, like blacks versus whites, whites versus blacks. You know, the algorithm, I'm gonna like tell you guys, like the algorithm, it splits the races apart. Black people in their feed, they get black student gets attacked by white, white attacks black, and on the white person's feed, they get black teacher bullies the black student, the white student, black student beats up white student brutally. Like they get these kinds of feeds, and it feeds like the anger of like these blacks. And on the black side, they're like, these whites, they're holding us down, they're oppressing us, we need to fight back. And this breeds further conflict, and you guys need to squash this shit and kind of have this monoculture of like no bullshit, like merit based kind of unity. Like you guys need to bring that back. You guys used to have that, but now things are so mentally ill and weird in society.
There are structures that are preventing them from succeeding.
They're not going to become white
so
like Michael Jackson. They will never try to become white like Michael Jackson. No wonder African women are bleaching, because they think that if they become white, they will have access.
Finish a point here.
What I'm trying to tell you is the statement alone is false. Somebody created it, and I understand the person couldn't understand why everywhere people with white skin lives, the place seems to be, quote, developed and well established. So it must be being white makes you do these things. Simply say being a giraffe makes you, taller than every animal.
So tell me about the Jim Crow era in the United States.
Slave period.
No, that's not the slave period.
No, I'm saying post-slave, post-whatever. Jim Crow, yes, white people are still telling black people, we don't want to live with you, you can't come to our school, you can't go to school. That's it. Every slave owners are just dreadfully bad people. They will do anything to you because you are their property.
The Jim Crow era lasted until, well, depending on how you define Jim Crow, but what we traditionally conceive of the Jim Crow era.
I will be talking about Jim Crow as a surprise to me if they did it to themselves. They did it to black people, which for me, it's a natural outcome of you being their slave. Why would you even mention it? You should expect that it should happen.
So I feel like your argument goes from white privilege does not exist to white privilege exists, but it makes sense because it's their country.
No, it doesn't make sense
to
because
white privilege doesn't exist again, even though I'm telling you about.
No, I have traveled and I have seen no single white country, whether with or without the privilege, as you said, you haven't seen, where it failed because they didn't establish institutions and laws to benefit themselves. I haven't seen it. But I've seen every place self-ruled by black people. Their government is black. Everything is black.
We disagree on the fact, like self-rule, we disagree with self-rule. That's the point that I was trying to make with
I thought that I would have succeeded for you to have shown me where if white didn't control institutions and laws, which they made, of course, they saw those laws to be intelligent.
It doesn't exist. That place doesn't exist. So you're asking me to be like, okay, tell me what Wakanda would be like.
They failed.
I don't know what it would be like. It doesn't exist, my guy.
Then I will see it, but it hasn't happened.
When white supremacy is an ideology that has taken over the entire world, and white Western liberalism is something that has taken over the entire world that's based on white supremacy, that's not a great argument to say, can you point to one place where white folks didn't do this and they didn't succeed? There is no place where they didn't do it, so it's not a great argument to have to someone, or to respond to someone who believes that this is the case. So and again, I also want to address some of your points here, which you're talking about, in sports, why would we be? There's a long time when black folks could not become.
Well, I can see the producer is giving it a sign, but you've been a really good sport than I expected. Thank you so much, Chris. This is really good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brother. Oh my God. Let's check some comments, bro. Let's check some comments. Rice says, this guest is a perfect example of a guy who comes off as intelligence in his echo chamber where no one challenges his ideas. Oof. I don't think I've ever witnessed somebody trying this hard to be oppressed, the victim, the proletariat. Need to learn that. He exists in a system of zero-sum games. As intelligent as he think he is, he literally knows nothing. Thank you, Mr. Zanu. His own community would call him out for sounding white and call him all kinds of names for sounding like an educated person. Yeah, that's the thing. Zanu mentioned culture. for a brief moment there, and it's really like that. A lot of black people can testify this. I've seen it. I've seen videos of it. Um, if you're like a black person in like a very like ghetto environment or hood environment or whatever, these black people they were talking about it. It's very difficult to be around people or family or whatever that are like that have like this loser weak mentality, because you try to educate yourself, you try to go to school and get a good grades and be articulate and to speak well. You know, I'm learning it as well. English is not my first language. I want to be able to express myself properly. And if you are a black person in these environments, in these neighborhoods or culture, people try to hold you back. They start saying stuff like, "Oh, you talk too white. You sound white." You know, I've heard this many times. Where black people experience this, they try to be educated, they try to articulate themselves, try to be a productive member of society and educate themselves. Oh, you talk white. What, you want to be white or something? That's very like crabs in a bucket mentality, where other black people hold black people back, you know. So yeah, it's tragic. It's tragic. It's bad, bro. Um, this guest can't bring himself to accept the reality that some people are better at some things. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a 6'7" basketball player, you know. I'm I'm not that tall. South African here agrees with Dr. Zanu. Critical thinking is definitely necessary here. Be prepared to open your eyes and brains. Yeah. This guest is so empty, just brimming with victimhood. Yeah, that's what I said. It was so clear. Coming from Eastern Europe, born in the communist era, nothing I got was the result of me having white skin. We were shockingly disadvantaged in comparison to our Western counterparts. But yet we made it. Through hard work, many of my peers emigrated to work the most menial jobs, and they worked diligently. We became known for solid work. Those who were better educated, i.e., in medical fields, strived for good integration into the host country upon emigrating. I can tell you 40, 30 years ago, if you were born black in the UK or US, you are more privileged than the average Eastern European struggling to make ends meet upon political transformation. What have you done with all those years? Self-identifying as helpless victim will bring you down, but not up. Waiting for others to do the work won't help either. Ooh, man, this is what we're talking about. I remember, like, my parents were, they remember the Soviet, like, communist era. My father is from Latvia, my mother, um, Ukraine, and yeah, things were like brutal back in the day. I've seen um, I've seen where my grandparents and everybody's dead, you know, but everybody's dead. But I've seen where my family grew up and lived, and it was like, holy shit! Like, there's no wonder that I love like reality and brutality, just the brutal truth. I mean, the truth of like the brutal truth. That shit is so easy for me because, brother, the things they had to see and do and live through, that's crazy. I think a lot of Western people, they're weak, they're soft, you know. So coming from like brutal people, it it has its advantages. This really made me rethink. Too often in Africa, we blame colonization, and in the West, racism. Thank you, Mr. Frank, for inspiring deeper reflection. Love from Rwanda. There we go. I think a lot of black people have victim mentality. It's sad. As a white man, my privilege is to go to work, to pay for school, housing, food, phone, utilities, personal items, Nothing has been free or given, but created, worked for. How does it work in Africa? Oof. Anyway, boys, I'll end it at that one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and please comment. I read the comments. It helps me out a lot. A like and a comment and a subscription. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope I wasn't too angry, or maybe I hurt some people's feelings. Well, I don't care. Like, I love you all. That's why I tell the truth, really. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I catch you boys in the next one. Take care of yourself.